Welcome to the Brotherly Ballers podcast with your hosts, Jack Vickers and Tyler Herman.
What up, all? Welcome back for another edition of the Brotherly Ballers. We are coming in here on Wednesday night, September 17th. I forget the days, they all blend together. We're going to do a little bit of a combo episode, catching you up on week 1 reactions and week 2 reactions. So a little bit of overreaction to start the season off with everybody in full tilt mode of how their draft plans have been derailed. So thank you for your patience last week. We're going to try to not make it too long, rehashing old weeks and stuff, but we'll do a quick recap of everything. So first off, welcome in my co-host, Tyler. How are you feeling after 2 weeks? Are you already locking up the trophy and ordering your ring sizes? Or are you already giving up on everything? How's the seasons and leagues going?
It's been pretty mixed. It's been pretty mixed. So in our main league, I mean, I'm 3-1, but I don't deserve to be 3-1, so I will take it. I had a couple of Monday night miracles for me, so I will certainly take it where I'm at. And I'm pretty middling. I'm kind of where I expected. I didn't love nearly any of my teams, and it's showing. I'm a whole lot of 1-1 in a whole lot of places.
That's not what you want. I'm nervously optimistic. I'm currently 17-3 across my leagues right now and feeling pretty solid. I think I told you at the first preseason episode where I was like, they're going to all be good or all bad because I drafted 80% crossover in every team. So far, a lot of the J.K. Dobbins and Javonte Williams of the world are paying off, but I think that's early on, so we'll see. Currently 4-0 in our main league, squeaking out 2 wins back-to-back weeks against top teams, so could not have asked for a better start there. Somehow the other 3 undefeated teams all lost this week, so it's like a how did we get here? What happens? And I don't think it's going to last, but I will take it to start. So that's that. All right, well, I'm going to jump into the next episode really quick. Or next segment really quick, because there's a lot, because I've added up several of these between 2 weeks, but we're going to kick it off with a little This Ish is Bananas. So some of these, you're going to have to forgive me, are a little bit outdated because they're from week 1, but I saved the ones that were cool enough to still mention. So this is just all of our, whether they're fantasy relevant, NFL relevant, maybe not actually actionable, but just hard to believe stuff that we came across. So first off, Derrick Henry is about 600 yards away at 11,423 yards on his career for the NFL. He's 600 yards roughly away from matching his career high school stats at 12,124.
I love that stat. I saw that one, and it's they were like, hey, by the way, Derrick Henry, here's the ball 47 times a game.
Can you imagine just not having to do anything being on his team as anybody else? The
Can
quarterback,
you imagine having to play him? To be hey, by the way, on Friday night, you guys are going to play Derrick Henry. I think I'm really, really sick that day.
The poor coach is being like, guys, listen, we can stop. We got a good game plan. These kids are going to die.
Yeah.
He was the size he is now as a sophomore. It wasn't even fair. All right. Number 2, Daniel Jones and the Colts in week 1. This is by drives. They had 7 total drives in the game. Field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal. Apparently no other quarterback this entire century has scored on every possession of a game. So granted, that's, if you're running out of time at the end of the half or turnover run downs, anything like that, or turnovers, period. But then they follow that up week 2 with also not punting again, though they did finally have 2 turnovers on downs, but every other possession they scored. So Daniel Jones is efficient and it makes 0 sense, but it's amazing.
He is the truth. I will love to see it continue, but I will never cheer for him. I can't do it.
I like it. Mr. Indiana Jones, that they're calling him. I love that name now. So
that's pretty good.
Another one. This one was my favorite funny stat on Twitter. But A.J. Brown, the first half is just straight normal. But A.J. Brown had a 5% target share against the Cowboys in week 1. The only other game in his career where his rate was lower than that was week 18 2 years ago in the 2023 season, and he played 12 snaps that game. So never ever happened in a game where he played the entirety of it. The best part, 6 other Browns wide receivers outscored him. Tillman and Judy, both from the Cleveland Browns, Hollywood Brown, Diami Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Noah Brown. So he wasn't even the top 6 Brown in the league.
He is 100%. I mean, he has to nearly be the stamp for the most disappointing pick so far in this year. I don't know. Genty's up there too.
Yeah, it was Genty's.
Yeah, I was like, Genty's up there too, but my goodness, he's been bad. But again, the Eagles,
hmm
they've thrown a total of like 40 times, if that, like
Yeah,
21 and 22 pass attempts. They just don't need it, and they're 2-0.
yeah.
So it's
That was
going to
the,
be like that. Welcome to
I don't
the
know if you
AJ
saw
Brown
the
train.
I don't know if yeah, he does this every time where he has like two random games for 38 points and then he finishes as a wide receiver one, but you're like, it hurt all year owning him though. I don't know if you saw the clip with them and the Chiefs jawing at each other at the end of the game where one of them, I think it was Chris Jones, they were lining up in the victory formation and Chris Jones was like, bro, you're embarrassing to Hurts. Like you didn't even have 100 yards. And he's like, bro, we won the game. Like that just sums up the Eagles team where it's just like, I don't need to be good. Like we just do this every week. So
Yeah,
I liked
yeah.
that.
I heard about that. I didn't see the clip, though. That's good.
Yeah, it was funny. Joe Burrow has scored 3.2, 8.1, and 8.8 standard fantasy points in his week one games over the last 3 years. So he's not a week one guy. He did the same this year. In every other week regular season game, he's averaged 21 points. So obviously he's out now, but the fact that's apparently he's just a not good week one starter.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy we mentioned, Ashton Genty, only had 38 rushing yards in week one. That's not the crazy stat. It's that he had 44 rushing yards after contact, which you heard that right. It was more than the yards he had total. So that hurt
Nothing
my
like
brain.
getting hit in the backfield constantly and all the
Every
time.
play. I'm glad he stands up so you can see it coming every single play. That's nice. Last week was also the 1 year anniversary of Tyreek's last 30-yard catch. So that was painful to hear. That was not fun.
Yeah,
Another,
that's a brutal one. He got it. He got one in week 2, though. So I promise.
Yeah.
We're good there.
Yeah, he got to the year mark and was like, that's enough. He probably saw that stat and was like, nope.
Oh, he 100% did. Someone asked him about it.
Oh, yuck. Another kind of rough, disappointing one. But Jahmyr Gibbs set the NFL record in week one for the least amount of yards on 10 or more catches ever. That is tough to do. What do you have, sub 30? Like it just
sub 30, 27, I think it was.
2 yards a catch? Yeah, Jesus.
I don't know how that was possible, but I will take it. Welcome to the PPR League. Thanks, Jahmyr. I appreciate it. I won by like 1.5, so I needed every one of those catches.
Yeah, it's absurd. And then shout out Jordan for this stat, but he sent me over. Tyler Warren and Harold Fannin jointly hold the record for most catches by a tight end in a college football game all time, 17 each. They now also jointly hold the record for most catches by an NFL rookie tight end in week one with 7. So just crazy that they paired that together. This one's funny. Top 10 fantasy finishes since the beginning of 2024, so the last season and change. Green Bay starter Jordan Love, 2, and Washington backup Marcus Mariota, 2, despite starting 0 games in that entire time either. So it wasn't even like he was a spot start guy. He came in. Yeah.
Jordan Love, pure game manager.
Yeah, perfect, just like averageness, and that's it.
Yeah.
Tyler Warren, 2 games into his NFL career, 11 catches for 155 yards. The Colts' leading receiver at tight end all of last season was Kylen Granson with 14 catches for 182. He is 27 yards behind last year's total.
That is crazy. He is a stud. He's looking very good.
Yeah, it makes sense. I just can't believe that was their best tight end. Like just somebody didn't. Yeah. And then if you really want to throw up in your mouth, we're going to end it with current NFL leaders in passing yards. Number 1, Russell Wilson. Number 2, Daniel Jones. Blah.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't remember who it was. It might have even been Fantasy Footballers or somebody like that. But they're like, hey, rest of season, do you want Daniel Jones or do you want Kyler Murray? And I'm like, I hate that is a question that you can debate.
Yeah, it's so
like,
true though. Like that's what I said, where I was like, he's not going to give the job back to Anthony Richardson. That was my bold prediction that he'd win a bunch of games for the Colts. And I didn't think he'd do it by being good. I thought he would just game manage, but it's just like, how is this happening? So
yeah, he's still got wheels too.
Yeah, the Giants' current and former
still run
quarterbacks. So, all right, moving into NFL news-wise, we're going to go on the Vikings 60-second synopsis. We'll try to keep this really brief because we're combining 2 games, but I'll let Tyler take it away with week 1 and week 2.
Yeah, week 1, we snuck one out against the Bears, 27-24. For anybody that watched the game, I'm sorry you had to watch the first 3 quarters. But hey, then we got JJM coming into the 4th quarter and turned everything around. So it was a much better tail end of the game. We got a couple passing touchdowns and his first rushing touchdown. So show the man. He knew how to show up in the clutch. He just knows how to win. That's been the JJM thing ever since there. Like whatever he was, 76-3 over the course of his entire life, which is insane, or whatever it is. It's a very high number. And then week 2, it all fell apart.
Yeah,
played the Falcons, and we lost 22-6. And if you had to watch any of that game, I'm sorry, because it was abysmal from beginning to end. It was terrible. Offense never looked in sync. Now everybody knows McCarthy's hurt, high ankle sprain, out for at least a couple weeks. I expected to be closer to that 4 than 2 weeks, but it was awful. So I hope you didn't have to watch it, but I know you did. So I'll flip it over to you for any type of solace that we got out of this, but I don't know that there's much.
It's tough because it was like, okay, we didn't like, he looked rough for 3 quarters, but then he showed like the potential that we are hoping him to have. Now let's see what he follows it up with. And then there was nothing you could take away from game 2 that looked even remotely good. So then not only that, but it's not even like, okay, he can learn from this and like work through it. Let's see how he bounces back. Cause he seems like a very resilient kid that doesn't get down when he's down.
Yeah.
He doesn't compound mistakes typically. So the fact that he is then out for that many weeks is just even more brutal, where it's like, we can't even build off of this. So I have no idea what Carson Wentz is going to look like coming in. On top of that, we have Aaron Jones going to the IR. So, I mean, it's just kind of a double whammy that's a little bit tough. We're also missing Ryan Kelly. Darrisaw's still out. So it's a lot of pieces. Addison's out for at least another week. Like, this isn't like, I'm not super concerned because this isn't what we're going to look like at full strength. And it was very clear with the rough pass rush in this past week that we need those other couple front guys to make a difference. But it definitely didn't make you feel great after all the excitement of week 1. So I think getting all those pieces back, Cashman was out again. Van Ginkel was out with a concussion. Harrison Smith's still working his way back. Like, we're missing a lot of our key starters. So I think like we just got to kind of hold on for the next 3 to 4 weeks and see what happens.
Yeah.
I like that we brought in Carson Wentz as a backup. I feel a lot better with him than our previous options. So
yes,
we'll see if we can sneak out a win or two. We get to play the Bengals, who are also missing Burrow, which helps. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Speaking of the Bengals game, and it's in Minnesota, do you have any thoughts other than just the obvious of backup versus backup?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a cool kind of, for lack of a better word, homecoming for Wentz. He gets to play for what he's now called his childhood team, right? Because he went to North Dakota, so North Dakota State, whatever. So he gets to play for his childhood team. He gets to play for the team that he grew up rooting for. So I think, honestly, that's going to be a weird little rally around for us, rather than, this person's hurt, this person's hurt. It's going to be like, hey, by the way, let's rally around this. Carson will bring everybody up, and he is a good game manager, and Browning played decently well, but he also turned the ball over a lot. He made some horrible mistakes that you just can't make. So I think our defense is just leaps and bounds, should be better than the Bengals. I think that's going to be the true difference maker, and we see Browning turn it over a couple times. So honestly, at home, this should be a win for us.
Yeah, it feels like a kind of not a make or break for the season, but like one that we definitely need to steal, even with JJ out. So,
yep.
All right. Quick other notable NFL news. Not a lot of other big ones beyond week 1, but Kittle went to the IR after week 1. Xavier Worthy's shoulder injury. Kelsey ran into him in week 1. If you didn't see it, he's out for at least a few weeks as of now, which is kind of weird because Kelsey hasn't even gotten all the targets. So with now Worthy and Rasheed out, it's just been kind of spread around grossly. We talked about it earlier. Joe Burrow is having toe surgery, so he's going to be out for at least 3 months. They're saying they haven't ruled out him coming back in the season, which just sounds like if we're still in it, that we'll see then. Jaden Daniels took a shot to the knee last week, and now he has a knee sprain where he could miss Sunday's game. Doesn't sound like it's long-term, but it could be just this week to keep him safe. And then Justin Fields is in concussion protocol. He has since been ruled to out for week 3, so now we got the Tyrod Taylor show for the Jets, which I didn't think it could get grosser than it was, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be curious. I think Tyrod will be not similar to Justin Fields. He's a little more competent, but he's also been he's a career journeyman for a reason, right? I think they will be just fine. But yuck, I don't love it, and I think the Bucs take that one pretty easily.
Yeah, agreed. All right, well, we're going to move into some game time stuff now, so we get out of our fun segments. So first off, we're kicking things off with some NFL Pick'em. So we got maybe a graphic here to see what our standings are. Yeah, there it is. So on the right, you'll see all of our current standings. So we have Nate, me, Mac, Foster, Jordan, Dan, all at 4-0 to start the week with some pretty easy chalk picks. Nick and Tyler both at 3-1. Both went with Pittsburgh last week. That was one of my final considerations too, after how they looked week 1. Did not quite work out, but they're still obviously in it early on. And then Connor back to 2-2 after having a 2-0 week versus his rough start to the year. So everybody very much still in it. We're kind of starting to see people do a little bit of deviation of, who do you save and everything. Jordan's being very ballsy early on, using those Ravens and Bills to make sure he stays on the top side. And then some other people are trying to save some of the bad teams. So we will see. But what do we got for week 3?
Yeah, we got, as you can see, a whole lot of consensus again. It turns out nobody thinks the Seahawks are actually good at football, but they play the Saints this week. So everybody's like, let's see how quickly we can get them off of our bingo card. So pretty much everybody went with Seattle, as you can see. So Jack, myself, Nick, and Nate, and Mac, and Jordan, also 6 of the 9 of us taking Seattle over the Saints. We got a few Falcons in a divisional matchup, which is interesting. Yep. Not when I would have used them, but here we are. Foster, Connor, and Dan taking the Falcons over the Panthers. Jack, you got Green Bay over the Browns. I like that. And then a few of us getting the Bucs out of the way too. So probably could have saved them for more, but with where they're at and they're playing at home, myself, Nate, Mac, and Foster all got the Bucs over the Jets, and then a couple, like Jack said, Jordan and Nick got the Bills over the Dolphins, and then a couple Colts over the Titans with Connor and Dan. So we will see how it goes week 3.
Yeah, all of the right side ones felt very safe or obvious to me. I didn't want to use the Bills because I feel like I could use them later. Packers didn't feel great because of how great they've started, but I looked later on the schedule, and there's a lot of games where it's like, I don't feel great about it, or they're away, and you never know what happens. So I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would using them early, but I almost did the Colts over the Titans too, just because of how they've looked. But I don't know if I can fully swallow trusting Danny Dimes yet, so here we are.
I think that's fair, but is it? Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I agree with you as far as using the Packers, but they are on the road as well. It's in Cleveland, mm-hmm. But early in the year, I'd rather play it there where the weather's nice rather than trying to play in Cleveland in the middle of December. Doesn't sound great.
Yeah, also true.
Cool.
All right. Next one, we got the Minnesota Sports NFL season-long pick'em. So that's where you're picking every single game, not against the spread. You're just picking winners and losers. Week 1, week 2, I am now at 23-9. So a little bit better second week here. I got the Colts over Dolphins upset pick week 1, and then I back-to-back picked the Colts again over the Broncos. So 2 weeks in a row picking them as the underdogs. Stealing a win. Still upset that I missed the Jets over Pittsburgh because they lost by 2 points. And then Carolina over Arizona. Again, that was the one I talked about. That was like a 93% Arizona, and Carolina only lost by 5. So I really could have used that one, but we're still in it. It's early. Tyler's got one up on me at 24-8. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, I've played pretty safe so far, no question about it. And we'll start to deviate as we get a little bit further. But I was like, I think I'm tied for like 6th. Then I think I'm two, maybe 3 picks back. So, it's not the time to go crazy and all of a sudden try to dig yourself out of a hole later. It's pretty much stay consensus till about halfway through the season, and then you pick 1 or 2 up there. You don't try to get back 10 in a single week. Try to get back 1 or 2 and don't get too crazy. So I think mine for this week, the main one that I did, I think you're going to mention it here as well, is like, I'm going to take the Jaguars over the Texans. The Texans have not looked great. I know they played close games. I know Tampa Bay honestly shouldn't have won on Monday night, 20-19. They punched one in essentially as time expired. But I think the Jags offense is going to bounce back. I think Brian Thomas Jr. has not had a big game yet, and I think we potentially see that now. Derek Stingley is obviously a great corner, but I think they'll move Brian Thomas around to essentially squeaky wheel, right? He's had like 4 catches in the first 2 weeks, so I think they get him going. And so I'm going to take the Jags at home over the Texans as my big upset for the week.
Yeah, that's my almost upset pick as well. The only thing I'm concerned about with Brian Thomas, that came out the reports that he had the shoulder issue, which I guess is why he was avoiding a lot of his big contact plays in week 2. So hopefully that's healed up. But the Texans just don't seem, it's one of those things where I'm just like, I'm not picking the underdogs because I believe in them. I just don't believe in the Texans that are whatever it is, 63% favorites. Like they haven't shown anything. They're 0-2 for a reason. Nico Collins hasn't gotten going yet. Stroud has continued to look like last year where he struggled. So I just don't really believe it. The Monday Night Football game is interesting too because it's Baltimore and Detroit. I do lean Baltimore, but like Detroit's still Detroit. They were the number 1 in the NFC for a reason last year, and they get only 22% versus 78% for Baltimore.
That's kind of crazy.
So like, it feels like a lot. It's not necessarily enough for me to go away from picking who I lean with Baltimore, but it still is like, this seems off. This doesn't seem like a typical 78-22 split. So we'll see.
Cool.
All right, moving into Bomb Squads and Butt Cheeks, our favorite one, where you're just trying to pick all the winners or all the losers. So everybody's got 3 teams. My Saints, Bears, and Jaguars. Week 1 results, I went 1 and 2. The Jaguars actually looked solid, but it was against the Panthers, so I'm hoping that's not legitimate. And then week 2, they went 0 and 3, thank God, with everybody kind of barely losing. So 1 and 5 to start the year. This week, I get the Seahawks versus the Saints. Should be fine. Cowboys versus the Bears. I lean Cowboys, but that could go either way. And then Texans versus Jaguars. We just talked about it. It could go either way. So it feels like it could be a 2-1 kind of week, but it could go anywhere at this point.
Yeah, I've started as well as I can expect. I got the Eagles, the 49ers, and the Bucks, and we're 6-0. So week one, we had wins over the Cowboys, Seahawks, and Falcons. In week two, we had a couple squeakers. We had the Eagles over the Saints and 49ers, or Eagles over the Chiefs, 49ers over the Saints, and then we just talked about the Bucks over the Texans. So we're 6-0. Can't do any better than that right now. And into week three, I feel relatively good for at least two of them: Eagles over the Rams and the Bucks over the Jets, and then 49ers Cardinals, divisional game, but 49ers at home. They just have so many injuries. I will not be surprised. I actually have Arizona in the pick'em, so I'll not be surprised to have to see Arizona win this divisional game. Both teams are 2-0. Arizona feels like a weird 2-0 team.
Yeah.
So in a divisional game, I'm actually going to take Arizona, but I hope I'm wrong, and we move to 9-0.
Yeah, I told you I liked your teams the most as far as the one who went for winners when we first drafted this. It's really just if the 49ers get healthy, if that doesn't like derail you in the meantime. But I have no doubt they're the divisional winners by the end of the year. It's just if they win with like 10-7 versus I think them being better at full strengths.
I agree.
All right, moving into our next game here, we got our always favorite swimming upstream.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming.
So a quick reminder, we're picking a quarterback who is 50% owned or less on ESPN, and we're doing this on Wednesdays, so it's always after waiver day, so we can't really take advantage of the big hotness from last week. But week one results, just to recap, Tyler and I, we went Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence, 8.2 and 10.3. That wasn't good. Week two, Tyler went Trevor Lawrence, and apparently I picked him on the wrong week. This is the same thing that happens every year. Tyler got him for 19.2 when he figured out how to play football, and I took your boy, Michael Penix Jr., and he went and got 5.8 against the Vikings despite dominating us. So it was even worse than I thought. The game ended, and I was like, ooh, he's only going to get me like 10, and then it was like awful. So not a great start to the year for me, but also not elite for Tyler. So I got some room to catch up. We both have a little bit of work to do to get into the QB1 range, but we continue on with week three. So Tyler gets the first pick back to him.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep riding him. I might as well. We're gonna pick T-Law again. Usually I don't like to go back to back just to give a little bit of variety, but honestly, there's not a whole lot in there that I liked. And so since I get the first pick, T-Law could have had an even better game. He threw 2 picks inside the red zone. He threw in at the 4-yard line and then and maybe just outside, and then like the 24-yard line or something like that. So he could have had an even more massive day, and the Texans defense isn't like super scary. So I think that Jags offense continues to play well, and he hasn't run as much as he did last year. So I think maybe he gets a few more rushing attempts. So I'm going to take T-Law again versus the Texans at home this week.
Yeah, so he was probably my one I leaned, but knowing him, if I would have picked him, he'd do bad. So other ones in consideration, Michael Penix versus Carolina, bad defense. Russell Wilson, who just exploded last week. He gets the Chiefs, though. They have a defense that seems a little bit scarier than me. And then Jake Browning versus Minnesota. I think he averaged like 22.7 points or something like that in the 6 games he did start when Burrow was out with that wrist injury, like half the season a couple years ago. And they just have so many weapons where it's like he doesn't have to be good. He just has to get it to like any of the other people. So I'm between him and Penix. Penix let me down so bad last week that I'm sure he will bounce back now, and I'll be wrong. But I'm going to go with Browning against Minnesota just because I think he's a safe one. I don't know if he has the upside that Penix does with the rushing, but I think he is safer to probably get you like 15, whereas I just saw Penix get me 5.8. So I'll go with him and see what happens, just because I don't think it's going to be relying on the Bengals defense. And I think even with Carson Wentz, I think we can hopefully score against the Bengals defense to make them have to do a little bit more of a shootout. Whereas I could see your Falcons up pretty early on the Panthers and they just run with Algier and just kind of end the game. So
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, they've just let Browning huck a chuck at football. There's no question about it. I mean, Jamar Chase had 17 targets last week. So, I mean, and again, most of those came with Burrow or after Burrow was out. Burrow left in middle of the first quarter, early second quarter. So, I mean, he had 13 of his 17 targets with Browning. So they aren't afraid to let him pass. That's why I said, he had good numbers. He also had interceptions because he was just chucking it wherever he felt like doing it. And again, Chase Brown is an amazing receiving back on top of all of that. So we shall see. I like it. If nothing else, the yardage should be there for you.
Yes, agreed. All right, we are now going to move into a little bit of a rebrand segment here, but we're going to do some of this or that. So we've done ever popular kind of name game in the past. And this is basically just going to be a different section each week, whether it's ranking fantasy players, believing in different teams, waiver pickups, whatever, just some kind of like a ranking where we can actually get you to compare where we're viewing players versus each other versus just saying, yep, you should always start Travion Henderson. Like that's easy to say in a vacuum, but like who do we actually start him over, for example? So Tyler, what do we got this week?
All right, I will have a drop for this. I'm working on one eventually, so we'll get there.
It's
I don't
new,
know that
it's
I'll put
new.
a video to it, but it's new, so I'm working on it. But this one actually came in. We're going to call it a listener question. So one of the guys from our small group, Steve, he's got a league and he likes to ask me questions. I don't know why he trusts my advice, but I'll take it. So he actually has a really interesting one. So I'm curious where you go with this one. Just been handed the keys to the backfield. Jordan Mason. Are you going Kyren Williams playing Philly, or are you going Jordan Mason versus Cincy?
Oh,
you hear the two names and you're like, it's Kyren. And then
It's
you think
supposed
through
to
it a little
be.
bit. It's supposed to be. And now it's like Aaron Jones on IR, Carson Wentz now in, true keys to the backfield for Jordan Mason, has looked amazing when he's gotten the work. Think back when CMC was out and for the 49ers, he did incredible.
Yeah.
Kyren versus Philly, one of the best defenses in the league. It's an interesting one. He sent it to me and I'm like, really? And then I thought through it and I'm like, oh my gosh,
I hate
I'm bringing
this
this one up. I hate that this is a
This
conversation.
is the Daniel Jones Kyler question all over again.
But so yeah, Kyren versus Philly, Jordan Mason versus Cincy. Who are you going?
Everything you just said about the obviously like he looked great when he's had the touches before. Aaron Jones is now out, all of that stuff. Even if none of that was true, even if Aaron Jones was active this week, I think the biggest factor for me is the Philly defense, and they're really, really good against the run. So I think like when I heard the names, I was like, I mean, it's still probably Kyren. I don't want to get like overreacting, but then you reminded me they're playing Philly, and I'm just like, ugh. So it doesn't feel great. Plus, I expect Philly to be up early, whereas like I could see the Vikings leading or it being a back and forth thing. So I think the Rams are going to have to shoot it out more, which makes me like their receiving options. So long story short, without going back and forth too much, I actually think I lean Jordan Mason this week. I think he's really, really good when he gets the ball. And then the Bengals are giving up the third most running back points through the first 2 weeks of the season. So they're not good against the run game.
No. I agree with you. I actually did the same thing. I went through and I thought through because he sent it to me and I was like, man, it's got to be Kyren, right? And then I just went a little bit more and I'm like, is it too early to play matchups? Like he's still bell cow. Then I'm like, Blake Corum got the goal line touchdown last week, and I'm like, that's Kyren's
awful.
thing. I'm like, that's awful. So I'm actually going to go Jordan Mason as well. I think if nothing else, they want to take some of that load off of Carson Wentz again against an awful defense. It just has so much more shootout potential, whereas Philly just burns clock between Hurts and Saquon and whatnot. It just makes for a shorter game, right?
Mm-hmm.
The implied in that Rams in Philly is like 44.5. I would take the under in that, honestly. I just think both teams run the ball so well. I would take the under in that. And then us versus Cincy is like 41.5. And I'm like, I don't know. That still seems pretty low to me. So the shootout potential, I'm going to take Jordan Mason. And that's against all consensus. Anything consensus that I looked up said Kyren Williams about RB12, Jordan Mason about RB20. But I'm taking 20, which I thought 8 spots difference was kind of crazy. But I'm going to go Jordan Mason as well.
Yep. I feel good about that now that we've talked ourselves into it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now an actual one. We're going to go with a single player, and we're going to essentially see where you would rank him. We'll go just this week. I'll do season long here in a little bit, but it's kind of hard to get a read on somebody after 2 weeks of such small sample size. But just essentially this week. So I'll give you one individual. We're going to compare all these subsequent guys against the initial guy for this week. And so I have what their rankings are, what their consensus rankings are between ESPN and Sleeper and whatnot. So you're just going to tell me which of the two this week that you would rather have.
And it's Amari Cooper all over again.
Exactly. Our man of the hour is your boy, Ashton Jeanty.
No, I hate him though. I talked about all preseason how I was out, so this is going to be tough to pick him over anybody. But
I know, that's why I love it. So Jeanty, for reference, is playing the Commanders. So I won't give you his ranking yet because I want to see exactly where you.
I'm trying. I have it cut off right now. I don't want to look.
Perfect. So your first comparison is Judkins. Quishon Judkins had a good first week back against Green Bay. So you go Genty or Judkins versus Green
Yeah, I
Bay.
feel like this is the trap set up for you to get me to pick Genty to then consider the other ones. Because, yeah, he did good, and I like him long term. I traded for him in one of our dynasty leagues pretty heavily before all the crazy legal issues, but I don't trust what his usage is going to be enough for me to not just pick Genty with the volume, even if their offense looks terrible. So I go Genty pretty confidently.
Okay, good. I had to set a floor.
That's what I mean.
He's not going to go below here, right? All right. So Genty versus Washington, J.K. Dobbins versus the Chargers.
You already know JK is my guy. I feel safe. I get with him. Genty, I think, has that potential like upswing. So I think if maybe you're projected way behind, you take the shot. But Dobbins feels so safe for like 14 points because he's getting the touchdowns. He's getting all the work compared to RJ Harvey. The Broncos offense looks competent, at least running the ball. So I feel very safe with Dobbins, but I'm also higher than consensus on Dobbins and lower than consensus on Genty. So, yeah.
I agree. So that's kind of why I figured I wanted to put him second so he didn't get too muddied in here. So we're going to go with another rookie who's been underperforming thus far. Omarion Hampton versus Denver.
Oh, yeah, on the other side. God. Oh, that one's tough. Is Denver's run defense as good as their pass defense? I don't know enough about them. I know they're all
not as good as their
pass
pass defense. Certainly not as good. Good, but certainly not as good as their secondary.
This one's closer than Dobbins for me. So I guess that tells you I'd take Dobbins over Hampton currently in the game head to head. But I think I go Hampton slightly here just because I believe in their offense more to be able to open the ball up or open the play up for him. And I expect the Chargers to be up on the Raiders pretty easily. So game script kind of plays into that too.
Perfect. All right. Next one for you. This one's technically a little bit higher, but I know we've kind of been haters on him. But he's done so well. Travis Etienne versus Houston this week.
God. And Genty's playing Washington, you said?
Washington. Genty's playing Washington. Etienne versus Houston.
God. I know Etienne blew up for over 100 yards week 1. Did he? I didn't follow him week 2. Was it more of the same?
Let's see
was it?
Here.
I think I lean Etienne, but I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like a one-hit wonder thing.
Yeah, 14 for 71 on the ground, and then
he's
18 in a touchdown through the air. So 18.6 and 16.9, granted in full PPR.
Yeah, sure. I think, if we're basing this on PPR too, he's getting the exact same workload that Genty is because Genty's not getting more carries because they're behind in every game. So I think I go Etienne again there. I'm sure the rankings probably says Genty over Etienne, but I would go Etienne just because he's doing it and their offense, as weird as it is to say the Jaguars offense looks okay, he looks okay.
Yeah. I got 2 more for you. I'll be interested because it's 2 also names
These are getting
that,
tougher.
that we don't really like. DeAndre Swift
I
versus
hate him
Dallas.
so much. You're picking
DeAndre
all the
Swift
people I
versus
just
Dallas.
hate year
That's
after
right.
year. God. There's no real danger. I mean, Monangai and Roshan Johnson aren't really getting any touches, so it has been all Swift. And I feel like other than to Rome, Caleb's struggling to move the ball, and he keeps dumping it off to Swift so much. So, like,
Very much so.
If I thought the Raiders could be in the game at all, I think I would lean Genty. So, I'm gonna hedge this one where if Jaden Daniels misses this game, I guess I go Genty because I can see it being a closer game. But assuming he plays, I think that's enough for me to go Swift, just because I think Cowboys and Bears will be a little bit closer.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Cool. And last one for you, another just kind of interesting name that has seemed to have fallen off the wagon. Breece Hall versus the Bucks.
He did so good week 1 and then was meh week 2. So and the Bucks historically they're really good against the run versus bad against the pass. So I mean I think I lean Genty here just for the upside more. But that's tough too. That's really, really tough. I think he would I hate them both enough to let the draft capital speak for itself and just go Genty as a first rounder. But I don't feel good about a lot of those.
Yeah, those are interesting names.
Those all hurt my stomach.
I'll do a couple rapid fire here just because I with where you're at and where I know you are on like the Dobbinses of the world, it nearly flips. Like when you hear these numbers, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, compared to what consensus
Am I way
is.
off?
So would you go? These ones should be pretty easy in my opinion. Would you go Genty or Chase Brown?
Chase Brown, easily.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna go Genty or Kyron?
Kyron,
Yeah, Genty or Javonte Williams?
Javonte, right now,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, and then Genty, Chuba Hubbard.
Oh God, I have him on no teams, so I haven't followed him.
Sure.
I guess Genty just because I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, that's about right. So essentially where we landed, Genty right now, consensus PPR rankings is 12. RB 12. Way too high. Your consensus right now would put him at right around RB 28.
Okay, that feels really low too. I would.
Judkins is 32.
Yeah.
And then Dobbins and Hampton are 23 and 26. And then ETN is 22. Swift is 14 and Brees is 15. So but then you've got Genty over the Swifts and Breeses, which would then tell me Swift and Brees would fall down to closer to mid 20s for about you.
Yeah.
So then you would say Dobbins versus like a Swift or Dobbins versus like a Brees.
I'd probably still lean Swift in that situation. Yeah.
So that puts essentially Swift Brees down in the J.K. Dobbins Hampton range, and that puts Genty right about that. So Genty right about closer to back end RB2, 20,
I would have said
24
like
to 26.
Yeah.
And then, probably you would just have J.K. Dobbins at like 20-ish and Hampton at like 23, Brees at 24, Swift probably closer to like 17, 18. Seemed like of those with the volume, you were kind of highest on that list. So, but I saw Genty as RB12, and I'm like, he's the guy because that's crazy high in my opinion.
Yeah, he feels more like a back end running back too right now, unless it's a game where they're not going to easily get beat, which there's not many of those for the Raiders. So to me, I'm not feeling good. I think he's going to have the volume, but like unless he scores, you're going to be looking at under 10 points most weeks until they're getting higher volume. So
perfect. That's what I got.
Yeah. That was so painful. You picked like every running back I hated to start the year. So then Dobbins.
It'll be different. I'll do wide receiver next week.
Though.
It'll be a little bit more fun with wide receiver just because there's so much more to pick from. Running back is pretty smashed at the top and then kind of falls off when he gets to the flex worthy. Wide receiver just gets so deep that I can pull some good ones out. But I just saw Genty was, in my opinion, way too high as well. High. So 12 seemed crazy after the first 2 weeks he's had.
So that was the segment I was most excited for us to start doing this year, because then like whoever's listening, it gives a little bit more insight into why we're picking versus just like, yes, I like this guy. No, I don't. Like, well, okay, well, like how much do you hate him compared to other people you hate? So that's the nuance behind it. So following up with that really quickly, we're going to get into another one, which I'll not ruin the drop this time, but we're going to do some suit up or sit down.
Suit up. Where's your suit?
That's why. Now sit down and shut up.
Diamond suited up.
Give me your seat now!
Where's my super suit?
The lady gets me every time. I always forget. Anyway, okay. So this segment is just basically we're going to be going kind of, assuming it's some like flex level guys.
Exactly.
Typically, that's what we do. It's just do we plug them in or not? So if you got these guys as kind of your bench ones, we're going to try to go all start, all sit, a combination of whatever, and then we'll pick like our most confident one of the week. So first one of the year. So Tyler can kick us off and we'll recap next week how we did.
One of you boys, we're going to go with Calvin Ridley versus the Colts. His first 2 games, 4 for 27 and 3 for 57. So not a whole lot of catches. But he's going against Indy, who's 17th versus wide receiver. So Ridley, you going suit up or sit down?
The thing that makes me lean one way is he's gotten so many targets, even though they're not connecting. So I have to believe that will get figured out. They talked about having a lot of connection between him and Cam Ward in the preseason and like to start off the year. So I think that will come. I can't imagine that Manor becomes the guy over Ridley. I think I had Ridley as a big guy. He was almost my guy over Tet for wide receivers. So I have to believe, I'm very biased, but like I think it's coming where it's gonna be one random big game and it's like, okay, they figured it out now. Good to go. So yeah, I'm suiting up.
Yep, I would agree.
Suit up.
All right. Next one I got for you, Mr. Christopher Olave. Chris Olave versus Seattle versus the Seahawks. Number 1 versus wide receivers. Again, reminder, small sample size, couple games. But Olave versus Seattle, the volume has been there. 13 and 10 targets the first 2 games. 7 catches and 6 catches weeks 1 and 2. both for 54 yards.
Oh, that's weird.
But Olave versus Seattle this year. Volume is there. You trust in him again this week.
I don't know if I could ever use the word trust in Olave in the same sentence again.
Fair.
He's
That is
one
fair.
hit away from being retired, but the volume, I think if you're in PPR, if you're in full PPR, I'm cool with starting him because you can't get that volume even with a lot of good receivers typically. So if it's anything less, I'm out, but full PPR, I don't hate Olave as long as they're going to keep feeding it to him because there's nobody else there.
Yeah, agreed. I figured most leagues are full PPR. I'm even semi-comfortable with it in half PPR. Standard league, I'm not going anywhere near it, but half
Just because
PPR,
they have to
full
always
PPR.
throw.
Yeah, I'll be there. So Olave, I'll give you a half and half, but we'll go with that.
Suit up!
Suit him up.
We're positive here.
Yeah, agreed. And the last one for you, we're going to switch over to running backs, individual who had a little bit of a resurgence here. We found the legs under him. I'm going to go with Nick Chubb versus the Jags this week. He is getting all the work. Woody Marks had 3 carries. He had 13 carries and 12 carries the last 2 weeks. 60 yards in week 1, 43 yards and a touchdown in week 2. Jacksonville's 9th versus running backs so far this year. So going to go Nick Chubb versus the Jags. Suit up or sit him down.
I still can't get over that he's on the Texans because I was like, the Browns don't play the Jaguars this week. But he's the only one getting workload. And this is one of those games where I don't hate it because I think they're both equally bad where the Texans aren't going to be out of this game. So I think there's a good chance for like a goal line touchdown here or just a lot of work. I mean, 60 yards and 43 yards isn't terrible. So I am just feeling positive this week and I'm going all 3 suit up across the board.
I like it.
Suit up!
I need a new suit budget. I can't. I gotta start getting harder ones. Or
we're
I just gotta put
giving these suits away.
Ashton Genty, suit up or sit him down.
Sit him every week, No. Yeah,
All right,
I
that's
said
all I got.
this is one of those things where it's like everybody's so hyped on the Bijan and the Gibbs of recent years that they're like the next first round rookie running back. He's gonna be great. And I'm like, I didn't think all of the rookies would be bad to start, but.
I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, it was the most hyped running back class in however many years, and all of them have just been awful.
Yeah. Well, it's hard with RJ Harvey trying to get out the elite dominator of J.K. Dobbins. So
Caleb Johnson returning kickoffs. Just sorry, didn't know the rules.
Mike Tomlin's like, I'm trying to get you touches. You can't even do that. Like, yeah. So
poor RB class.
I was doing victory laps, having him fall to the 12th pick in the first round, and then I'm like, oh God. But
whoops-a-daisy.
No one else is any better. So
no.
All right, last couple of games here for our weird specific leagues. Those of you that play in these out here, so hopefully you've stuck around this long. But Guillotine League, the 18-team league. I want to do a quick shout out to our commissioner, Jordan. Thank God, I appreciate you for switching to the chopped sleeper version because we were talking every day about how much we hated that god awful Guillotine app league that you couldn't figure out what was going on. So excited to see how waivers run tomorrow and how it looks with like tracking scoring, but it can't be any worse. So
it was awful.
Recap, bottom score each week is cut, so you don't have to be first, you just can't be last. Looks like Wait and See, which may or may not have been Ben's team, and then the Skull Pack team, whoever that is. Jordan, you'll have to let us know, and I'll find out for next week. Were the first 2 cuts, they did not get to see the promised land of the sleeper app version instead. So week 1, notable players that were dropped, and we got to see waivers because they already ran by this point. But Puka went for $275, Trey McBride $250, Omarion went for $275. That seems crazy. Tyrone Tracy $80, Bo Nix $8, and then I took Goff for $5, which worked out great because JJ McCarthy was my other quarterback, and now he's gone. So so those are the big ones for week 1. Obviously, there's not a ton because everybody's teams are very, very shallow at this point. But it's always crazy to see how quickly people spend money. Like if you get one scare early on, you see a team that goes and drops half their budget. And it's like, I've always said, I'm like, if I'm not going to be in it at the very end, I don't care. So I'm going to just hold my money for at least a handful of weeks. Like I try to do it for the first 5, 6 if I can, because otherwise it doesn't matter if you take 8th or 10th or whatever.
Right.
Like if you blow half your budget early on, you're just going to die out when everybody else can start outbidding you. So, and then the people that were notable that got cut, Jalen Hurts, Saquon, and Marvin Harrison from week 2. Wasn't a ton, but should be some interesting getting extra fab off the radar. So, any quick week 3 thoughts for you, either on your team or just like if you're expecting ranges for players to go or strategy in general, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think exactly to your point. I'm still hoarding my money for as long as I can. You should probably be good if you can't survive essentially a top 16 teams at this point. Again, if notwithstanding injuries, right? If you haven't had to do any change outs because of that, and you are good with the team that you drafted, I wouldn't go out there and spend 33% of your budget to make sure you have Saquon on your team. As lovely as it is to have Saquon on your team, it's just most likely probability that he's going to come back around. And I think I saw the stat, $1 in September is worth $10 in December. So it's like you want to hoard that money as much as you possibly can. But yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Jack, because you mentioned it like, oh, hey, if you have a scare, I'm like, you were close. You took second to last. You won.
Not injuries, just JJ getting me 3 points as the quarterback.
I was going to say, you were like, it was like what, 8 points? It was like 61 and 53 or something crazy. And
all of Monday, or what was it, Sunday night. Yeah. Coming into Sunday Night Football, I was like right there, borderline. And luckily the other guy just stopped scoring too. So I knew I was safe by then, but I'm like, man, JJ like almost sold it for me week 2. That would have been the saddest thing ever. So I am staying strong because on paper, I feel very, very good about the rest of my team. Yeah. And I mean, if I put an incompetent streamer quarterback for 14 points in there, all of a sudden I'm up to like 8th place. So like, I'm just chalking it up to JJ was that rough. And now that I have Goff, I don't really have to care because he just seems like a boring safe guy week in, week out. But yeah, you need to not overreact. If you have a reason, like if you're the team that just lost Joe Burrow, like go and get a quarterback for sure. Or if you're missing Kittle or somebody like big early on, definitely go spend. But like as the teams get a little bit more deep, I like to try to get like the second or third option. Like at this point, I'm trying to get like sub $10 bids just to like build up my bench so I can play mix and match. I'm not trying to go get the Saquons and the Pukas right now because like you said, I'll get them later for $80. Like there's going to be, once you hit like the top half every single week, there's like 10 players and nobody has any money left. So I can just go, oh, the third most money has 52. I'll go 53 and take everybody I want. Like, it's so fun doing it that way. So
agreed.
I'm just trying to stay calm and not overreact.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to our last crazy league, Vampire League. If you didn't hear us talk about it week 1, basically it's a 10-team league. One team, myself, did not draft and had to build a team of crazy dumpster waiver wire guys, and everybody else can't use waivers. So I'm just trying to beat everyone with the players they didn't want, essentially. So week 1, I was not close, as expected. I lost by over 40 points to Joe. I put up 78 while starting Tua, who had like -2. So that was a miracle. Quickly dropped him and then started a little guy named Russell Wilson, who became my savior of the week along with the Cardinals defense. Somehow stole a win in week 2, which I was envisioning not till like week 6, 7 when buys and injuries started happening, but stole a win week 2 over Matt. I'm so sorry. Matt from the Minnesota podcast is not going to want to ever play with us again, but I took Bijan from his team because you get to swap one player when you win, and I gave him, I think, Dylan Sampson. So enjoy that for the rest of your year. I'm so sorry for derailing your roster, but it feels a little bit better now. Now I'm projected like 104 and the next one's like 118. So still shouldn't win, but every game now becomes like, we got a shot here. So coming at Ben next, playing him this week, and he's got a nice little Josh Allen sitting there. He's got a couple of other interesting receivers. So we'll see what happens, but makes it a little bit more interesting where people who play you now have to start questioning whether they sit their studs. So that's that.
I like it.
We'll see. If it becomes too easy, we're definitely going to make the benches bigger next year so that people can't get anyone, because piecing together the Cedric Tillmans and Russell Wilsons of the world should not lead to wins, but here we are. All right. And then last but not least, just because we have a little bit of time here, Tyler, I have one dynasty question for you, and it's because we need a reaction from you on a live trade that's about to go down.
Okay.
So I'll hang up and listen. There we go. It's making for an enthusiastic podcast, but I'm just waiting for Tyler to hate me.
What are we doing?
Keep in mind, in a vacuum,
No. I'm not keeping anything in any vacuums of any minds.
I do think that it is an overpay on my part, but I also think I'm in the position with assets to do it.
Okay.
I agree with Nick's point of view before you bash him, but give us your insight.
Okay, so Jack just got Trey McBride on an already dominant dynasty team, and he traded away Theo Johnson.
Well, he's not the main piece.
I don't care. And two future first-round picks. No, I'm not, because your next two first. But guess what? Your team is going to, at worst, be a 10, 11, 12 pick for the next couple of years. And yeah, by the way, you're already the current champion. So if you win again, it's quite possible the league resets.
Yeah, it's quite possible half the league leaves.
That makes no sense. I get it. I get the future first. I get the capital. But you better be trading for other people's first-round picks that maybe you had. Whatever. Jordan's or my pick that's a middle over the first round. Giving up your first-round picks.
No, I know.
I'm 1-1. But I was like, but giving up picks of yours that are assuredly going to be 9, 10, 11, 12 for the next couple of years.
Fair.
And the nearly probably consensus, number 1 dynasty tight end in the league.
Over Bowers, you think?
A
quick?
Yeah, that's true.
I just am curious because it could go either way.
Yeah.
But
it could. I would still take Bowers.
Yeah.
But to then also the champion boggles my mind.
That's the thing, is that when you start to add in the context of like, you're not supposed to trade with the champion, that part I completely get. I'm not debating that. But I basically was like, so for context, without outing other trades, I had another trade offer that popped into my inbox today for, we will say, a top.
I know who it was, so you're good.
Okay. I didn't know if you did. All right. Well,
he tried to trade him to me. He tried to trade him to me.
So
too.
He's
like, if you don't take him, I'm giving him to Jack.
No, I'm surprised that didn't make you do it alone, because I was 100% prepared to accept it. But then literally in these conversations went, okay, here's my starting block. If I do this, it's too much trade capital. I've been trying to get McBride for a year and a half. I had him last year in our redraft league, and I love him, and I want his jersey. So I literally been trying forever. And I finally then got this and was like, I'm going to do this trade. And then I'm just making a last effort. Here's the starting package. Here's where I'm at. What would I have to add to this to get McBride? If it's too much, or if you're like, I don't care, then I'm done, and then it's over with. I got to know now is my last chance. And he's like, it would take at least this. I'm like, thought about it for a little while, because on every calculator you look at, it's an overpay in a vacuum. Yeah. But in the context, like you said, when you're very confidently, not just like a probable playoff team, and when like literally my only glaring weakness, because Mark Andrews has turned into dust and Njoku is not breaking out like I thought, he also has Fannin, so that hurts me. I have nothing as far as tight end. Like that's a big piece where it's like this literally fixes the only issue. But also with Nick, he was like, I don't have enough. I thought I was going to be better than I am this year. I'm clearly still in a rebuild, and I just need to continue getting assets. And he has Fannin, Isaiah Likely, and then Theo Johnson as his third. But like he has 3 younger tight ends that like should have a shot for one of them. So I like it from that context of like, I'm getting pieces now to continue to build up, because I don't think he's going to be a top playoff team this year. So I'm just trying to give the context versus like just hating on Nick, because I like that. If I were in his position, I would have also done it, except for the trade with the champion part.
Correct. Yeah. So. You could have given him to me. I would have been just fine with it. It's about the only piece that I really need.
You could have blocked me getting Kittle. I was prepared to do it because I knew I could wait for him to come back and be fine.
Yes. I was like, he wanted a first round for Kittle. And I was like, but I can't do that for a guy that I'm going to wait 4+ weeks for this season when I would need it. So I was like, that didn't make sense for me. And
I was going to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it.
I get it from the overpay standpoint. I don't get it with the, hey, we trade for the champion.
Yeah, I know. That's just you're a big proponent of that, so that was why I wanted more of your 2 cents on it, because not all people think that way, and it makes a lot of sense in Dynasty to think that way. Whether it's a reset or not, whether that happens depending on how the vote goes, I still get them not helping the champion regardless. So
yeah.
But anyways, we saved it just for that. So very bad podcast content for anybody else, but I wanted Tyler's honest reaction. So here we are.
There you go. You got it. That doesn't jive with me.
Yeah, Tyler can have sweet dreams about that one now. So
rude.
And I can finally get his jersey. Anyways, that's all I got. So Tyler, I'll let you send us off with some positive thoughts that you're currently running through your brain right now. Anything you want to say for week 3 and looking into week 4? And
man, don't give up just yet. It's a small sample size, everybody. 2 weeks does not a season make. So continue to grind, continue to do your thing. Trust in your draft process. Continue to start those studs. So hope everybody has a great week 3, and let's go Vikings. I know we got one more home game, and then we go on the road for a little bit and head overseas for a couple games. So I get a couple 9:30.
God.
I was all done with the Sunday and Monday night football out here on the East Coast, and going to bed at 11 and midnight is just not my forte. So give me those 9:30 a.m. kickoffs. I'm all for it.
I gotta wake up that early first before that happens. Yeah. All right. I got nothing else. Thanks, Pod Squad. We'll see you
right.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Brotherly Ballers podcast. Check out more content on youtube.com/@thebrotherlyballers.